In our hyper-connected world, we take the internet for granted. But the lifeblood of this digital age, carrying over 95% of all international data, lies hidden in the dark depths of our oceans. A vast unseen network of over 500 fiber-optic cables, stretching millions of kilometers across the seafloor, forms the true backbone of our global economy and communication. This is the story of that invisible infrastructure, and why it's becoming the next great battlefield in a new era of conflict. These cables are incredibly vulnerable. While many disruptions are accidental, caused by fishing trawlers or ship anchors, a more sinister threat is emerging. In the geopolitical shadows, nations are engaging in hybrid warfare, targeting this critical infrastructure to gain leverage without firing a shot. Recent, difficult-to-attribute incidents in the Baltic Sea and around Taiwan have exposed just how fragile this system is. Sabotaging these cables is a low-cost, high-impact strategy to test military reactions, disrupt economies, and sow chaos, all while maintaining plausible deniability. I'm Dr. Anya Sharma. The strategic value of these cables cannot be overstated. An attack isn't just about cutting off internet access. It's about severing the arteries of global finance and data flow. The world's leading powers, including the United States, Russia, and China, are acutely aware of this. They are in a silent race, deploying specialized submarines, underwater drones, and surveillance ships to monitor, map, and potentially interfere with this subsea network. It's a high-stakes chess game being played thousands of feet beneath the waves. In response, a new defensive front is opening up. NATO is increasing maritime patrols, and nations are collaborating with private industry to design more resilient cables and enhance surveillance of key routes. The challenge is immense. Monitoring millions of kilometers of cable is nearly impossible. The war for the future may not be fought with armies on land, but in the cold, dark abyss, for control over the data that rules our world. The security of our digital lives hangs by these fragile, undersea threads. The first transatlantic telegraph cable in 1858 marked a revolution in global communication. It was a marvel of Victorian engineering, a fragile copper wire, sheathed in gutta percha, stretching for thousands of miles across the deep, dark Atlantic floor. It reduced communication time between Europe and North America from 10 days, the time it took for a steamship to cross the ocean, to mere minutes. But this first cable was short-lived, failing after just a few weeks. It wasn't until 1866 that a truly durable connection was established, ushering in an era of unprecedented global connectivity. The British Empire, with its vast colonial reach and maritime dominance, quickly became the master of this new domain. By the early 20th century, a web of British-owned cables, known as the All Red Line, connected its territories, securing its commercial and military dominance. Information became a strategic asset, controlled from London. This network was so critical that during both world wars, one of the first acts of hostility was cutting enemy cables. It was a clear recognition that disrupting the flow of information was just as important as sinking a battleship. Today, the landscape has changed, but the strategic importance of these cables has only intensified. The British Empire is history, and the United States has emerged as the central hub of the modern internet. The vast majority of global data traffic flows through servers located on American soil. This gives the US immense geopolitical leverage. Think of it: financial transactions, diplomatic communications, social media, it all passes through this American-centric infrastructure. But this dominance is being challenged. China, with its Digital Silk Road initiative, is aggressively funding and building new cable systems across Asia, Africa, and even into Europe and South America. They are creating their own pathways, seeking to bypass the traditional US-controlled routes. This isn't just about business. It's a strategic move to reshape the global information architecture and reduce reliance on American infrastructure. And then there's Russia, with its advanced naval capabilities, particularly its fleet of specialized submarines and deep-sea vessels like the Yanta. Russia has demonstrated a keen interest in the undersea cable network. Their activities near critical cable locations in the North Atlantic and the Mediterranean have raised alarms in Western intelligence circles. It's a shadowy game of cat and mouse being played thousands of feet below the surface. This new great game is not for territory, but for control over the digital arteries of our world. These digital arteries have critical choke points, vulnerabilities where a massive amount of global connectivity is concentrated in a small, accessible area. One of the most significant is the Luzon Strait, between Taiwan and the Philippines. This narrow waterway is a superhighway for cables connecting major Asian economies like Hong Kong, Japan, South Korea, and Singapore. In 2006, an earthquake in the strait severed multiple cables simultaneously, causing widespread internet disruption across the region for weeks. It was a stark reminder of how a single event, natural or otherwise, can cripple an entire continent's connectivity. Another vital choke point is the Red Sea, specifically the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. All the data traffic flowing between Europe and Asia passes through this narrow channel. Recent attacks by Houthi rebels on surface shipping have highlighted the vulnerability of this passage. But imagine if an attack were to target the cables lying on the seabed below. The consequences would be catastrophic. And we can't forget the English Channel, a congested and relatively shallow body of water crisscrossed by dozens of cables linking the UK with continental Europe. It's a prime target, easily accessible and immensely important, especially in the post-Brexit era where data sovereignty and secure connections are paramount. These points are the Achilles heels of our globalized world. The economic fallout from a coordinated attack on these choke points would be staggering. We're not talking about a simple internet slowdown. We're talking about a complete shutdown of the global financial system. The modern economy runs on data that moves at the speed of light. Over $10 trillion in financial transactions are processed daily through this cable network. If that flow stops, markets freeze. The New York Stock Exchange, the London Stock Exchange, the Tokyo Stock Exchange, they all become digital ghost towns. Credit card payments fail, ATMs go offline, and international trade grinds to a halt. Supply chains, already fragile, would be thrown into chaos. A container ship in the middle of the Pacific would lose contact with its port of destination. A factory in Germany would be unable to order parts from China. The cascading effects would be immediate and devastating, plunging the global economy into a recession far deeper than anything we've seen in recent history. The 2008 financial crisis would pale in comparison. It's an economic doomsday scenario, and the trigger isn't a market crash or a pandemic, but a few well-placed cuts on the ocean floor. The physical and digital worlds are not separate. They are one and the same, and the fragility of one threatens the stability of the other. This threat has ignited a new, high-tech arms race beneath the waves. It's a battle of innovation and counter-innovation. On one side, nations are developing sophisticated methods to protect their critical infrastructure. This includes deploying dark cables, secret, unlit fiber optic lines that serve as backups in case the primary public networks are severed. These are the hidden redundancies of the internet, known only to a handful of intelligence agencies. We're also seeing the rise of autonomous underwater vehicles, or UVs, that patrol cable routes. These robotic sentinels can detect tampering, perform repairs, and monitor for suspicious submarine activity. It's like having a 24/7 security guard for the seabed. Furthermore, advancements in satellite internet, pioneered by companies like Starlink, are being explored as a potential backup. While satellite bandwidth can't currently replace the sheer capacity of fiber optics, it could provide a vital lifeline for essential government and military communications in the event of a catastrophic cable failure. It creates a layer of resilience, a plan B for when the primary system goes down. On the other side of this arms race are the aggressors, developing ever more sophisticated ways to disrupt this network. We're not just talking about submarines with simple cutting tools. We're talking about specialized deep-sea vessels capable of precision operations at extreme depths. These ships can deploy remotely operated vehicles, or ROVs, that can not only sever cables but also install covert taps. These taps are highly sophisticated, devices that can eavesdrop on the torrent of data flowing through the fiber optic lines without being detected. It's the ultimate form of espionage. Imagine a foreign power having access to sensitive diplomatic cables, military plans, or proprietary financial data, all intercepted from the deep ocean. This isn't science fiction. The technology exists, and the threat goes beyond simple cutting or tapping. There's also the risk of cyberattacks that target the landing stations, the facilities where the undersea cables connect to the terrestrial internet. A successful hack on one of these stations could disrupt traffic on a massive scale, or even worse, allow an adversary to manipulate the data flowing through the cables. It's a multi-front war, fought both in the physical depths of the ocean and the virtual realm of cyberspace. Looking ahead, the future of this underwater contest is one of escalating complexity and heightened stakes. We're moving towards a more fragmented internet, a splinternet, where different geopolitical blocs operate their own separate, fortified networks. The vision of a single, open, global internet is fading, replaced by a digital world carved up along political lines. China's digital Silk Road is the most prominent example, but other regional powers may follow suit, creating their own data spheres of influence. We will also see a dramatic increase in seabed surveillance. The ocean floor will become a sensor-rich environment, monitored by networks of sonar arrays, AUVs, and other detection systems. This transparent ocean will make it harder for hostile actors to operate undetected, but it will also raise profound questions about sovereignty and freedom of navigation in international waters. Who owns the data collected by these sensors? Who is allowed to patrol these vital corridors? The law of the sea, written for a world of ships and submarines, is ill-equipped to handle these new technological realities. We are entering a new era of maritime strategy, where control of the seabed is as important as control of the seas themselves. The invisible infrastructure that powers our modern life is becoming the central battlefield of the 21st century. The silence of the deep ocean belies the intensity of the struggle unfolding within it. Thank you for watching. If you found this analysis insightful, please like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the critical issues shaping our world.